Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, fresh off homework of the Phoenix Suns. Did a little slight recap of yesterday's game that we had against the Washington Wizards. So I'm ready to talk about the Suns and the Lakers matchup tonight at Footprint Arena in Phoenix, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I believe this game is winnable, Los Angeles. I know that sounds a little bit presumptuous, but when you hear what I have to say, you might agree. First of all, the Los Angeles Lakers have injuries of their own. Anthony Davis is going to be out for a month. Wenyen Gabriel, we don't know what's going on with him, but I don't imagine he's going to play tonight since he didn't play last night. Patrick Beverley, I don't know what's going on there, but I know he wasn't available yesterday, and I think the team was a little better for it. And Austin Reeves rolled an ankle yesterday. I hear he's going to try to play through it. He certainly did yesterday and helped us win the game. So this is one of those situations where you're looking at that, and then you're looking at the Phoenix Suns, and you're saying, well, okay, what's up with them? Well, pretty much the same thing. Booker and Ayton are questionable for the night, and most of the rest of their role players are out, like just most of them. They pretty much only have like 7 players suiting up tonight, but one of them is Chris Paul, and another one is Mikal Bridges. So we got to be careful about those two particularly, but I think the Phoenix Suns are trying to throw the Lakers off. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think they're trying to throw us off with who could or could not be playing in this game because we know Devin Booker scored 58 points in that last game. We also know that they've been having some issues here and there with other teams that they probably shouldn't be having no issues with. Now, I've been studying, as I said, this team, and basically they've been seeing the Pelicans all week. Just like we had that little stretch with the San Antonio Spurs, that's what they've been dealing with. They've been playing the Pelicans pretty much every game for the past 2 weeks. So that concluded yesterday with them having a 4-point lead against the Pelicans, win rather. And it was in emphatic fashion with Devin Booker, of course, going for the 58 points. But they were down by as much as 24 in that game. You know, I thought that there was some interesting numerology there, some Kobe-related numerology. The biggest lead of the game for the Suns was 24, and the biggest lead of the game, for the Pelicans was 24, and the biggest lead of the game for the Suns was 8. And I just said that this game reminded me of the 81 game, where the team was down by so much, and then it took a Herculean, is that how you say that, performance by Kobe, or in this case, Devin Booker, to get them the win. And so I figured it was the same thing, and if it is the same thing, then I'm to look at it a certain way. How am I to look at it? I'm look at it as you found yourself down by 24, and the only way you were going to get back in that game was to find a performance like that from one of your star players. That is not a recipe for determining whether or not you've been balling or not. Now, I know they've been going up against the Pelicans. That's one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league right now. But their performance against this team, they've been getting beat, with the exception of that game for which 58 points was needed to win. They lost the other two. And it was done with a whole lot of dynamic play done against them. And then you see the game that they played as well against the Rockets. They got blown out in that game too. And you say, okay, well, where's the good in all this? Well, they just played the Clippers somewhere, smashed in. They beat the Clippers. But then you look and realize the Clippers didn't have Zubats in this game. And so they were able to just completely overpower them by getting offensive rebounds and just using their bigs, Okogie and Londale and Ayton were basically able to just eat against the Clippers and kind of devour them because they were depleted of size. So it's like, well, where are the Suns really playing well? How do you determine what's to look at? Because they're playing against such good talent. And then you look at how they played against the Rockets, like, okay, well, the Rockets are a team that's, although they're not supposed to be winning, they've been demolishing teams better than them. But if this is the determining factor, that team that they ran into, the Suns being quote-unquote better than them, then you look at how the Suns have been playing, it's like, are they much better than them? I think that it's very clear that the Phoenix Suns are an illusion right now because of who they played and how those outcomes have gone. It's really hard to determine exactly where they're at in terms of if they're playing well or not. And because these players are questionable, it makes it even more so difficult to properly game plan against them, which is why I'm assuming Devin Booker and Ayton are playing tonight. Because they understand where they're at, they understand how they're positioned, they understand the Lakers are coming in, having just beat the Nuggets without Anthony Davis, the Washington Wizards without Anthony Davis, had the Celtics down by a million before coughing the game up, had the Philadelphia 76ers on the ropes. And the other games that we've been playing, we didn't have Anthony Davis and we're depleted trying to find our way. Before that, Anthony Davis was scoring 50, 55 points, etc. You get the point. The Lakers are also an illusion. It's hard to tell if we're playing well or not because players are going in and out of the lineup and games are going a certain way that don't really necessarily end the way the games had gone. Just like the Phoenix Suns, to where they won this last game, but ultimately were down by 24 points. This is kind of how the Lakers these last 2 weeks are going for the Lakers too. So this is a perfect storm of two teams that should not necessarily know how to game plan against each other based on those things. And we should see a heck of a matchup because of it. Problem with the Phoenix Suns is if they're not bluffing with Ayton and Booker, they're going to be so depleted that might take away from the game in and of itself. When you consider is Chris Paul, Josh Okogie, Bismack Biyombo, all these different players are the only guys that are going to be on the floor. Jock Landale, the guy I said was killing the Clippers, he's out with concussion protocol. You talk about the various role players that they have. You think about Cam Payne, he's supposed to be missing for this game. Cam Johnson is out with a big-time injury that's going to have him out for a long time. It's like they are really missing key players up and down the roster. Big Bismack Biyombo, Dario Saric coming off injury, he'll be available. The main thing that we need to look at tonight is there's several things we need to look at. The bottom line is the cluster of players that we're certain are going to play tonight can shoot the ball for the most part, with the exception of Biyombo and maybe one other guy. You consider Chris Paul's three-point shot has fallen. He was 5 of 7 in the last game. Mikal Bridges, his three-point shot is capable of falling, even though he did not necessarily have his greatest week of basketball. He's had some good games here and there where he shot it. Josh Okogie, he's capable of hitting the three, even though they don't necessarily want him shooting it if you're Phoenix too much. He's a player who's starting to really make it happen. Damian Lee is somebody I expect to take a lot of shots tonight and be extremely important if Devin Booker doesn't play. He's basically the person I'm looking forward to initiate a good deal of my scoring from that unit, because Mikal Bridges is not a go-to scorer. Dario Saric maybe it might work out, but where his conditioning is after that injury, I don't expect much. Bismack Biyombo's you're not looking at him to score. They have very few options. And the thing about them is Josh Okogie's been a player that they've had play at a high level over the last several days. They've really got him activated since we last seen this team. So I expect him to have a huge amount of minutes tonight and be a major source of production for this team. He's going to be somebody that they throw on LeBron James all night, so we're going to have to be very careful having Bron suit up against this team and then knowing that a guy like Josh Okogie's out there to simply be as big as him and foul him basically 6 times. So we got to be careful about that. Josh Okogie draws a lot of fouls. He went to the line in the last game, I think more so than what you would expect from a guy who's not looking to score. And he fouls a lot on the other end, had about 4 of them on his own. So I was paying close attention to that. When I mentioned something about offensive rebounds, that is something that we want to pay attention to. The Clippers were able to get a lot of offensive rebounds in their matchup against this Phoenix Suns team. Even though they lost the game by 1 million, Moses Brown and some dude named DiBiase got 6 offensive rebounds apiece. Now, that's something I'm paying attention to because we have a couple players on our team that specialize in offensive boards. So that's something that we may be able to kind of duplicate and take advantage of. One thing that I'm looking at in regards to this team is they have the same problem we have. Because they have older guys on the floor, they tend to not be able to handle dynamic players. So this is a situation where I'm looking for LeBron James, Lonnie Walker, guys of that nature to use their athleticism. Russell Westbrook, this is your night to shine because this team don't do well against athleticism. The Houston Rockets, the New Orleans Pelicans, guys like Zion and Kenya Martin Jr. and Gerald and Green and all these guys who can really fly, they've been having fun against this Phoenix team. Phoenix is having no success against these teams. It was the Clippers who don't really have that dynamic that wasn't able to take advantage. And that's the point. We have some of that dynamic in Lonnie Walker, who played well last night, was flying all over the floor, hitting shots like his normal self after snapping out of that slump. We need more of that tonight. LeBron James, very efficient yesterday, flying at the rim, dunking the ball left and right. That is what we're going to be looking for tonight. Take advantage of the fact that Chris Paul's on the team and he does not want to guard anybody. He wants to do a little nasty stuff and punch you in the face and kick you and all that good stuff to stay in your head. But his defense is offense. His defense is being able to break you down and keep you off balance by using the pass and the shot as a means of keeping him effective. He wants to draw fouls. He don't really want to lock down nobody. So what I think we should do is put bigger guys, athletic guys on him and make him uncomfortable tonight. Don't put Patrick Beverley on him. I know that's probably the likely thing that we would want to do, because you want to put the pest that's been on his backside for 10 years on him now. The guy who pushed him in the back and all that, it's real. I don't know. It's like something cute to do. You know what I mean? But in all honesty, I want to overwhelm Chris Paul because he's playing well, but he doesn't have a lot of talent around him tonight if Booker and Ayton don't play. So if you could stifle him, make him uncomfortable, put big people on him, put people on him to make him have to dance and jerk around and do all kinds of stuff that he doesn't necessarily want to do, you can pretty much stifle him and make it so that other people have to beat you. Guys like Mikal Bridges, turn him into a jump shooter, because obviously without the scorers around him, it's on him to do stuff that he doesn't necessarily want to do every night. If he could score 35, 40 points, have at it. But make him a scorer. Force him to want to shoot shots. Because at the end of the day, if Chris Paul's scoring the ball left and right, if he goes for 35, 40 points, they get the points they need. And that's unnecessary when we have the bodies to guard him. He ain't that fast. He's talented, but you should be able to stifle him when there ain't nobody around him to really pass to. That should make it so that he's easier to hone in on. So that's what it is. If he can turn Damian Lee and Dario Saric and those guys into elite shooters tonight, I tip my hat. But at the same time, he's going to have to be able to stop LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Lonnie Walker, and Austin Reeves, and all these dudes are going to be flying at him. And I don't think they got enough talent on the floor to do that without their main guys. So they had better run them out there. If they're going to be questionable tonight, they probably should just play. Because this ain't the night to just rest your legs. This ain't that type of Laker team. And I hope they don't think it is. I hope they don't think that. We coming into their house to just roll over and chill because AD ain't out there. You got to understand, we've been winning these games. He ain't a part of these last two games. And we've been doing it because Thomas Bryant's been out there using size to help us. And we've been actually playing bigger without AD, not smaller. So teams need to understand that. This is the opposite dynamic of what you think. Our big guy went out and immediately we got bigger. So that's what we're doing. We're getting away from Dennis Schroeder and two guard lineups, hopefully for good. Hopefully we never see that again, because Max Christie has stepped up and proven as of yesterday and pretty much for the last couple of weeks when we play him that he can both defend, rebound, hit the three-point shot, and essentially just help us in every area possible with size, length, and defensive intent. That is a kid that crashes the glass every single time we put him on the floor. There's no reason for us not to be able to get offensive boards against this team that tends to give up offensive boards. Well, we got guys like Max Christie, guys like Austin Reeves, who tend to just look for opportunities to come out of nowhere and snatch up offensive rebounds. So that is what I'm looking for us to do. Attack that. Second chance points will be our key. Because Ayton, the way I see it, Ayton is a guy who is not usually self-motivated. Even in the last game, we saw this team. It was one of those situations where until he got pushed by Beverly, and we all remember that incident, he wasn't really even playing well in that game. He was just kind of trotting back and forth. He doesn't appear to be very inspired to be on his team. It's understood that he didn't necessarily like how his free agency situation went, and he probably would rather be somewhere else right now. And so in this situation, I just see him as a guy who's, I ain't going to say his confidence comes and goes, but his desire to be out there running around for the Suns comes and goes. And if we can stifle him somehow, get him in a little early foul trouble with a guy like TB, put him in situations where he's not as comfortable, I think we can be in a good spot tonight, especially if for some reason he does play and Devin Booker does not, which is logical to me given the fact that AD ain't on the floor. If I'm him, I'm going to want to play through that, whatever it is. So this is one of those nights where I don't expect them to sit those players, even though they're talking about keeping them questionable. I do not expect them to think that this is a game that they can do that. Because at the end of the day, this team's playing well. And this Suns team has won the last two games in a row, but they've also lost a lot of games in a row. And this New Orleans team, the Memphis team, and some of these others are hot on their trail. So they need to keep winning games. Can't afford to drop any. As I said, they're not an athletic team, man. This needs to be understood. We can run them out the gym tonight, especially. If they ain't going to have those athletes on the floor, Booker and Ayton, that makes them less athletic than they need to be to keep up with the Lonnies and Brons and Westbrooks. They just don't have those players on the floor. So we need to attack the hell out of them. Look to be athletic tonight. Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, of course, Max Christie, as we mentioned already. Flying, dunking, looking to be dynamic, looking to get in a fast break, looking to turn defense into offense. That is what has been impressive about this team. Because we've been playing with size, because we've gotten away from them two-guard lineups, we've been able to get those boards. We've been able to defend and switch a little more. We've been able to ultimately end possessions for the defense, for the other side quickly. Get them out of their offense, get the ball away from them, and get it back into our possession. That's what size does for us. It helps us with these scrums that give us ultimately 2 and 3 and 4 different opportunities at live ball situations. That's how we were able to win last night, because we had those live ball situations fall into our place, into our hands down the closing stretch of the game, where Bron was able to get the ball off of an errant pass and ultimately get the ball to TB to win the game in the paint for a dunk. So that is the type of energy that we want to see the Lakers continue to have happen for them. We were quick to the ball last night in 50-50 situations, and it was because we played size. It was because we played youth, and that's what we need to stay at. I think everybody needs to be looking for scoring, especially our 0 for gopher last night, Troy Brown. We can't have you out there being the only guy who doesn't score, man. You have to account for some scoring just like everybody else. And even though we got away with it last night against the Phoenix Suns, I don't know if everybody else is going to be playing well enough for him to not do good things with his minutes. You know what I mean? Guys like Mikal Bridges and Josh Okogie, they're going to play defense hard tonight. And they're going to be pushing people around hard tonight. So it's going to be incumbent upon us to take care of the basketball, to give them some of that same defensive energy, and ultimately take advantage where we can be athletic and stretch out and ultimately get in a fast break and make things happen for them. Josh Okogie is the great equalizer to the athleticism. Understand that. If anybody's going to help them stop some of that Lonnie Westbrook Bron stuff, it's got to be him. It's got to be a combination of him, Mikal Bridges, and Bismack Biyombo trying to guard the paint if Booker and Ayton don't play, because they don't have the personnel tonight. I cannot stress that enough. Damian Lee, a guy, you know he can shoot. Keep him out of the free throw line. Just keep a hand up on this guy when he shoots the three, and do not foul him at the three-point line. You know he's going to be diving to the floor just like Devin Booker. He's NBA champion from the Golden State Warriors. He knows what he's doing, and he's not afraid of the moment. He's already won a game for them at a buzzer, if I'm not mistaken. So we got to keep an eye on Damian Lee. If he gets anything less than 25 points tonight, I'd be completely shocked, because there ain't going to be too many people shooting the ball besides him. He's going to have that opportunity, and he's going to take it. He's good. So have defense ready for him. Hell, put Booker defense on him if you got any sense. Don't take him lightly. And as I said, Chris Paul's playing great ball right now, man. The three ball's falling, the mid-range is falling, everything looked great. You know, he's been out for a couple weeks, but he's really, really good these last 2-3 games. So in the midst of them having their struggles or what have you, it ain't really been his fault in any way. We have got to take him very seriously right now. So that's what it is, man. We know it's going to be a Chris Paul game, meaning he's going to be looking to do stuff, man. He's going to want to get in people's heads. He's going to want to piss people off. So we have to be poised. We have to be ready for the refs to kind of do certain things to cater to him. We're in his house. So we got to be smart about how we handle ourselves and play free. That's what I saw last night, was a team of guys that played free. They weren't worried about the moment. They weren't worried about how things weren't going well. They just took care of business. You know what I mean? Defense to offense and controlling what they control. Shooting good three-point shots, fighting through injury, playing big, playing with energy. All of that was good. Damian Jones needs to be mentioned, how good he played with the minutes given, how much we were intent on playing to his strengths, lobbing him the ball, and allowing him to play off the weak side. That's what we can do. Put him in those lineups that allow him to play above the rim. Kenyon Martin was able to catch a lot of lobs against this team when they matched up a couple games ago. This is something I think we can duplicate as well. They don't have the athletes. Biyombo can only go up so high. So Damian Jones should be able to catch some lobs over him and get him in foul trouble. Same thing with some of our other guys, Bron and these guys. Play above the rim. Because Phoenix, they ain't really got that type of athleticism. Look at Dario Saric. He ain't stopping no lobs in no way. It's just not happening. So if you can get it above where Okogie and Bridges can get to, you pretty much above them. That's pretty much what it is. So athleticism tonight is key. Push forward. Bron, Westbrook, I want to see us power them down, because we have the athletes to do it. You know, if it ain't for Josh Okogie, they got nothing. If Ayton and Booker don't play, that's key to everything. So that's what it is. And if those dudes do play, just throw a lot of defense at Devin Booker. We know what he did. Was it 21 to 35 points, like 6 3-point shots, 1 million free throws? The guy went for 58, and it wasn't his career high. So we know what he can do. If he's out there, he must be guarded better than we guarded Bradley Beal last night. Simply put. What we did against Bradley was okay, but it wasn't good enough because Bradley went crazy in the fourth quarter. And they almost had a chance to win the game because of it. Booker's better than Bradley right now. And that's the bottom line. We need to take him, obviously, much more seriously if he's down there. And so that's what it is. It's going to be a tough game if they play everybody. We know that. But at the end of the day, as I said, their bench is depleted. So if they do play everybody, get them dudes in foul trouble and get to that bench that we can destroy. At the end of the day, nothing changes. They still, regardless if everybody plays or not, have trouble with dynamic athletic players. So if Bron goes at them, Lonnie goes at them, Westbrook goes at them, we should have some success against them. But we got to take care of the basketball. We got to force turnovers. Forcing turnovers means taking no defensive plays off, staying disciplined. One of the things we love about Anthony Davis and watching him play D is how disciplined he is. He knows how to position himself to play into the defense in a way that plays into his hands rather than the offense's hands. And so that's what we want our players to study. Guys who are going to be playing in his stead need to study the sequences he has, when he stays down, when he reads the defense or the offensive player and does the right things, when he draws offensive fouls and things of that nature. We want Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones, and anybody else who's going to be playing that position to get better at those things over the next month so that when AD gets back, you will be as good as you need to be to help him for the next damn time he sits down, because we got to learn to live without this dude permanently and think of him as a luxury when he plays. It just is what it is. That's where we are. That's the Lakers till further notice. And so that's where we're at, man. Hopefully they're behind the scenes making a trade. Obviously, it would be a great time to bring us some size, be a great time to bring us another dynamic wing player, forward player that we could get out, do some more damage with. But for the time being, we just got to play it by ear in regards to a guy like Austin Reeves. If that ankle ain't giving him what he needs to get in terms of his speed, and he's out there trying to guard people and it's not working, we're going to have to walk away from him, because the ankle could leave him at a disadvantage defensively. And if he's a step slow, it could be a problem. So we got to play it by ear with guys like that. Anybody with a rolled ankle, it could be a situation where if we're leaning on them too much, they just become a cone out there. So that's what we don't want. I know Austin Reeves ain't like that normally, but with a bum ankle, we'll see how he plays through it. So that's what it is, man. Lean on your athletes, man. Give Christie opportunities tonight, just like he did yesterday. Obviously, he played well with the minutes. Obviously, that's something we need to reward him for. Thomas Bryant, same thing. Feature the man. He's balling. He should be our second or third option this night. You know what I mean? We should be intending to get to him almost like we're intending to get to AD. And that is another thing. If we can sustain, if TB can stay on the floor and stay healthy enough, that should be our goal, is to try to simulate some variation of intent to center, intent to basketball center. In other words, we have to force the ball to AD when he's down there, right? We should still have that habit. That should still be a habit of the unit. You don't want that to be something that we forgot about and we get back to jump shooting and all that, because we're not going to win that way. It plays to us at a disadvantage where AD's on the floor or not. So we need to be doing the same thing with TB that we do with AD to a lesser degree, because we want that intent in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter, to make sure that the center is always somebody we're looking to get the ball to, so that when AD gets back, it ain't that much of an adjustment. It's a style of play thing. That's why we don't allow Westbrook to start even though guards are going out of the lineup, because we want to keep our style of play for our identity regardless of how long AD's going to be out, because we are who we are. He's the number one, and we know he misses games, but when he's out there, he can give us 60. So we got to be ready to help him do that. So that's what it is, man. Keep the habit. As far as everything else, man, I think that'll help us win. It's not like that's going to betray us. Doing that will cater to our success. So long as Thomas Bryant can get healthy, which is why we need another center. And that's on Rob Pelinka to go get us one sooner than later, man. I'm on board with helping the team get better, because I think we're proving we can win without AD over the last two nights. You know what I mean? Even though it was the Wizards and the Nuggets who weren't playing all that great, it still wins. It's still without AD, and it was still us doing the right things down there. So they just need compliments to help them win. And with the youth movement starting to develop, we can see these guys' value getting upwards. And if we can give them enough, we can have assets that are more valuable than it is right now. Because at the end of the day, value comes from guys winning or losing and playing well. And if you put them on the floor with players that help them play well, they will win and their value will be up. So that's on us to help the team, not just help AD, not just help Bron with this trade, but help the team. by giving them enough to compete so that they can be their best selves and that they can be valuable to us. So that's how we have to look at it in the organization. That's how I want Genie to look at it. If it makes sense to trade the picks, do that in that flurry. If not, don't. But do intend to improve the team. Simply put. So that's what I want to say, man. I'm excited about beating up on a Phoenix team that's trying to psych us out. But we will be prepared for both. If Ayton and Booker's out there, we got a plan for that. If Booker's out there without Ayton, we got a plan for that. If Ayton's out there without Booker, we got a plan for that. If neither one of them out there, we're going to eat. And as simple as that, man. We give ourselves no excuses, whether AD's out there or not. We're trying to compete. Period. BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.